Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today we're doing the final video on the 2020 Bonsai Challenge. It was issued to me by my broski Ian at a Back Garden Bonsai. I had challenged him to do 3 different plantings of mame with 3 different styles. So if you haven't checked out that playlist, head over to Back Garden Bonsai, check that out. He issued to me, he knows that I like to travel. And so from all the past years of vacations and such, he said, choose a place, recreate, cool. So I actually chose New York City because that's where Franny lives at. And Laura and I are always going in to visit Franny, bring Franny home for the weekend, whatever the case may be. So initially, I wanted to create this New York City cityscape with, the nice sidewalks and the huge, high, towering buildings and all of that, where they actually incorporate a bunch of trees throughout the sidewalk. So it's always been very interesting to me and very exciting. However, due to the amount of Legos that I chose to use for the cityscape and colors and things of that nature, also due to the fact that I can't put this thing outside because Legos are made of plastic. So if I put them outside, then they would totally be melting and it would just be a terrible thing for 365 days of the year. So I'm like, okay, well, I have to keep this cityscape inside. So that brought a whole bunch of different challenges on what trees to, choose for this. And well, we got it done, but I guess you're gonna have to wait for that on this episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all, so here it is. You enter the planting with a little sidewalk, and it goes into the back against the little cityscape we have there. A bunch of different buildings and businesses. Parking lot over here, a little lounge area over here. Some bunnies hopping around a field. That doesn't make sense for New York City. And we have a little dog park to the right. So going up down the middle, I have 2 different little mame pots on each side with pencil cacti. And so these were grown as mame earlier on, and I just have to add 1 more here because I had 3. We're going to do 2 on each side, and then I also have 2 pots set in the ground here. So I think with that one, we're going to utilize the succulents, and we'll create those little plantings, making them look like trees. So that should be a good time. But initially I wanted to use the black locust trees if you had watched the previous video, but black locusts, obviously, they have their normal dormancy, and I could not put Lego pot outside. So I could not do the black locust, so we decided to do all succulents and cacti. So we have 2 cacti on each side here, and then we'll do the taller succulents in the back. So I'm thinking that'll look pretty cool. And even though I will complete the challenge and follow all the guidelines that Ian set forth, it'll be like successful as far as getting it done. But as far as getting a New York City planting done, that's not going to happen. We just didn't have enough of the correct colors and pieces. And anyway, so this has nothing to do with New York City, but it's like, a cool little cityscape. So, yes, I'd say 50% pass, 50% fail. All right, so here is my mother plant of pencil cactus. And even though this is going to be new, I'm still going to just plant this little cutting down in some soil and match it up with the other 3. So the other 3 I probably rooted in water, which is the most successful way to root a pencil cactus. But I just need 1 more. So these are very easy to work with. So if you stick it right in some soil, they'll totally grow some roots and continue on. If you don't have a pencil cactus and you're new to the game, I would totally get a pencil cactus because it's very hard to mess these up. Right, so I want something that's short and slightly intricate, just like the other three. So I'll probably grab something that's growing vertically because I don't want any vertical growth in this one. So yeah, all right. There we go. That looks pretty cool. Oh yeah, we'll do that. A boom boom. All right, so it's a nice little cutting. These were all pruned and they have not kicked off any new growth since, but we'll see, you know. That'll work. So I'm just going to spoon some soil into these tiny little mame pots that I have. Laura got me 20 of these mame pots, I want to say last year, and I haven't used all of them because mame is very difficult. You have to water them all the time. You can't take an established tree, cut off 90% of its roots and throw them in there, so. So underneath these little mame pots are some drip trays, so I'm just gonna water these things and then let the water run out the bottom. There's actual trees down there, so you don't have to make a mess and get Laura all mad. Okay, so we got the entryway done, and now we got to do those two. So let me show you right now where these came from. I don't know what they are. They're succulents of some variety, but let me show you where they came from. All right, so I have this little planting of 3 that Laura and I did. And this is the mother plant. As you see, it gets a nice little woody trunk coming up. And I just pruned off a couple of the branches and threw them in some soil. And they've taken nicely as cuttings. So I do not know specifically what these are called, but some variety of succulent. So that's the mama plant. And that's where those other ones came from. As you can see, we got a ton of snow here. I had to shovel out from the doggy door out to the dog yard so that Bruce Lee and Millie could take care of business. So yeah, we're enjoying some, the pond isn't frozen yet, but soon that thing will be full with fishermen with their little tents and huts and all those things. You know, so it'll be full of ice fishermen here in about a month or so. All right, so here we are with the cuttings. I have 3 of them. This one is very dominant. Oop, I knocked my girls over. So So this one is very dominant, and then there's a couple that are matching, so I think those would probably look best. This is just a pot that had some soil in it, and after we did the last pruning of that 3 different succulent planting, I just threw the cuttings in here, and they've all done really well. So why don't we take these 2 out? What we're going to do is raise the canopy up a bit, and then we'll pop them in there. So I'm just using a spoon, popping up underneath. It's actually surprising how many roots they've gotten just from being cuttings from not too long ago. And this one too. Boom, boom. All right, cool. So these were very small. I don't know what's gone on lately, but they have taken off. So I don't imagine with all the energy that they have that this should really bother them too much. But we're going to do as little disruption to the roots as possible while we transplant these. All right, so underneath these pots are some drip trays, so I can water right into this potting with no problem. Fill the bottoms with a little bit of soil. Boom, and boom. This is ridiculous. All right, here we go. So doing my best not to disrupt the roots. Get them in there so that they'll stand up straight. I was thinking about taking all of these needles off and raising them up and making it look like a palm tree, but we can totally create the look of a pine if we just keep all those needles on. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do, since pines would be much more likely to be in New York City than a palm tree. So. Oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. I'm just using a soup spoon, no fancy bonsai tools going on here. I'll lightly pack them in there. That one looks good. Of course, I continue to knock these poor little ladies off their stools. They're trying to have some tea time, have a conversation. All right. So my broski Ian asked me how I was going to be able to water these, if I had to pull them out or, what the case may be. But with the drip tray underneath, I could water them right into this. And since they're succulents, I'll probably mainly mist them. Maybe water once a month and mist otherwise. And boom, boom. All right, so we have 4 pencil cactus cuttings and then 2 different succulents offsetting with the city of buildings and stuff behind. So yeah, 2020 Bonsai Challenge done. Thanks, Ian, for challenging me. It certainly was that. I cleared off a little spot for this thing to hang out. And, you know, anyways, I had a lot of fun. So thanks a lot for thinking of it, for challenging me. And Laura, Franny, and I, we all got to chip in, put in our 2 cents, and create, to the best of our ability, a cityscape. So, all right, y'all. So that's going to do it for us today here at the ranch. I hope you enjoyed yourself. That's going to be the final episode of the 2020 Bonsai Challenge with me and my broski, Ian, at Back Garden Bonsai. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I know I did, and there's plenty more to come. So please visit the channel, like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care, y'all. Cheers.